Okay, here we go. This is the second video. I'm going to cover off some images that I'm going to get ready for putting up onto WordPress to make the site for this person, which happens to be Baggies, which is a company. They've sent me some images. They're here. First thing I'm going to do is create a new folder. I'm always going to work on the images and make sure that when I save them to a different folder, so I don't overwrite the originals. It's good practice. You could always make copies. I'm going to call the folder web because they're going to go on the web, and we'll know that they're hopefully going to be smaller than this. Your aim is to get your images as small as possible but as good as possible. That's the aim, bearing in mind that a web page that may have 4 or 5 images, if they're big images, if they total in excess of a meg or up to a meg, it could take ages for your page or your pictures to show, so people are going to click out of your site. So that's true of any website, so always going to try and make the images small. And I'm going to use Photoshop because I'm used to using Photoshop. There are other software out there, GIMP is one of them, but do a Google search for free software or free image management software, image manipulation, anything like that should come up with some results for you based on your platform, PC or Mac. Basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a new, and I've already got this preference saved, but I've got a new image. I'm using an image, a blank image, which is 613 by 500. I may increase the height of it. It's got a transparent background, I'll explain that later. But 613 fits in with the template that we've got currently. It may mean if we change the template later, it may mean that the image floats slightly, and we might need to come back, but I'll cover that off in a minute. So we're going to create this image. We don't need to give it a name or anything at the minute. So we're going to have and you can see it's transparent because it's got these little checkered background that denotes that it's transparent. We're viewing this at 100%, so that's how it's going to view on your website. So that's how I like to work. I'm now just going to select all the images, and we'll treat them, some of them differently, but we're just going to open them in Photoshop. And good name for a company, Baggies. There's the owner. One thing we're just going to do quickly, any profile pic, I'm currently tending to put it in the right hand sidebar. This is looks like an Instagram of some sort, so it already has a frame, so I'm just going to crop the frame out, get rid of that frame. I'm going to crop it a bit more because I know what I'm going to do in a minute. I want to get rid of that rubbish. Crop, we don't want to see the plugs. So there she is. I'm not going to edit this image, it's an Instagram. There's no point in me tweaking it or changing the colours. That would be time wasting and not really worthwhile. Now with this, I want it to be 180 wide. These are pixels. It's just a different form of, if you're not familiar with it, it's a form of measurement. And I won't go into the reasons why it's called that, but there are many and varied, and it goes a long way back to the original pixelation of imagery and scanning. So I've got it at 180. I need to remember this height as well, so it's 180 by 220, and that will become apparent in a later video, but you can always come back and have a look at the image anyway and see the size. There she is. I'm now going to go and save it for web, and the first time you save it you may need to find your folder that you just created, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. I've got the quality set to 60, which is fine for the web, and this has come down to about 9.5K, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. So we're just going to save that, make sure that we go to this one and pop it in the web. It'll now remember it, but we'll save that. Good. And when we come back here, we can delete it, but don't save it. So that means it's not going to overwrite any changes you've made to this image. It's not going to overwrite the original. So we've now got one of the images done. I'm just going to have a quick look. They all seem to be square images. Yeah, it's still square because they're bags, I suppose, that's why. So doing a montage, a straightforward montage, might be a little bit difficult because they're all square and they're just going to look like tiles on a page. But we'll try and be relatively creative. First thing I'm going to do is just change the image size, and bearing in mind we know we've got 613 pixel width on here, so it doesn't divide easily, but that's neither here nor there. So we can change this to 300, and as you see, it goes to 300 by 300. And we'll change this one to 313. So that makes our 613 wide. So you can see what we're doing, and I'm just going to bring this onto the front, and I'm going to just make sure I'm selected on here so that I can pull the 313 in, position it. Just get it nicely positioned. Now we can see that we're not going to get many in here, so I'm going to just get rid of these two. Don't save it. Don't save it. The reason I'm doing that is then I've got this image. I can always increase the size, decrease the size, do whatever I need to do. And in fact, what I think I might do is just come and use my rubber and change that to 6 and square. I'm trying to be quicker than the machine will work here. So let's get a little square brush. Hold down the shift key. Make sure you're on the right layer, that would help, wouldn't it? Just going to get rid of that little border. And I'll explain, if you hold down the shift key, go back to that layer. You could do this at the end really. It's been fussy. I'll do a bit more at the end. Just come back to that one and do that. Let's get it done. Hold down the shift key, and that just allows you to do a nice neat edge. And I'll explain a bit more why we've done that, but so what I'd want to do, I need to increase my canvas size. The canvas, this is my canvas here. It's an image, but I'm working on a, you can, a bit like art, I'm working on a canvas, so I'm going to increase the canvas size rather than proportionately increase the whole image size. So it's I want a bigger canvas to work with. I'm going to lock it to the top, and I'm going to increase the height to 900. I can always crop it. So it's locked to the top, so I don't lose my position of those images, and I want to add a couple more. So remembering our image size, let's do 300 again. Okay, and that's a nice bright one. Nice one with a car. Nice. That's nice. Make sure we haven't got one like that. No, we haven't. So, image Image size, we want 313 for the width, okay. So I'm just going to put that on there for now. Yeah, let's keep it over there and keep them in proportion to each other. I'm going to pull that one over. Well, that's a selection of bags. I wouldn't say it's overly creative. Don't save that one. Don't save that one. She didn't send me a logo for her business, so I may take an image. Just going to reduce it and see what it looks like. I'm only reducing the view, not the image. So it looks quite nice. So we'll come back to this one. What I'm going to do is, obviously my canvas was a little bit too big now, it's a bit too generous, but better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to give it a tiny edge, image, crop it now. And what I'm going to do, I've got all my layers here, so I could turn these on, off, move them around, as long as you select the layer that you're on. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to save this, save as, and put it in her folder and as a PSD. So okay, and that means that any time in the future, if we need to make changes or she needs to make changes, we have this master file. It's just good practice to keep saving things and doing it properly. What I'm going to do now is just flatten this image, and basically it brings all the layers together, and then I can take my eraser What I'm going to do now is merge these layers. So I've still got my background, but I've got all these, they're no longer selectable or anything like that, but they're all treated as far as we're concerned as one image. So I can go in and delete these little grey backgrounds a little bit more, using the shift key just to keep myself going in a straight edge and not off a tangent. You don't have to be accurate there. You can just select, use your shift key and pull it down, and if I'm not careful I squeeze my mouse and off it goes, but there we go. Okay, just do these to tidy them up. Tidy them up, get a little bit closer. That's a bit better. Now, why are we doing a transparent background? Well, I'm going to save this for the web as a PNG file rather than a JPEG. The PNG allows it to appear on the web with a transparent background, so no matter what the background of the website is, it will show through behind these images. So that's quite important if we're chopping and changing templates, chopping and changing things. It'd be very good to use this as an image anywhere really. So I'm just going to go save for web, but I need to change it for PNG 8. I'll change it for PNG 8 first, and that shows me on my colour palette, and her face is going a bit So I'll save it as a PNG 24 and the face coming back. It's a compromise really to get a good quality but keeping it as small as possible. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to save as products PNG, which is, and it's in the web folder. Okay, so that's finished, and I'm not going to save it again because then it will save it as the merged. So we can always come back and well, in fact, I will save it. What I'll do is I'll save as products merged, and then I can always come back and fiddle with it if I want to. Didn't use that one. Okay, and we've got this image which looks quite nice. So I'm just going to do something a little bit different with it, just to give us an extra image for the page. So let's just change the size, image size, and we want it to be around about 240 pixels. I'll take a guess here really. And we'll see it at full size. So we're at 100%, that's at 240 pixels. I'm going to make a new one. $250, 250, transparent, okay. I'm going to drag this one in. You may wonder why I'm doing it like this, but you'll see in a second. Come on, that's it. I'm just going to position it so I get a slightly bigger edge there. You can use the nudge keys slightly. A little tiny transparent edge there. I'm just going to add an effect to it. And I'm going to add a drop shadow. Change the angle slightly, a bit more, and the distance. That'll do. Save this for web again. Less colours in this one. I don't think we need as many colours to give us the effect. It's all about size. You want to reduce, reduce, reduce. And we'll call this top. And again, I'm going to save it in her folder as top, but it's not saved in the web file. But we've got all our images so that we can use them at a later date, and the next video will be importing them into WordPress. Thank you very much.